welcome back to Steel and Stone Restoration. I'm Eric, and in this video we're going to be building buttresses to support the rock building here. So stick around and check it out. So, what's a buttress? Well, I'm glad you asked, because without getting too technical, it's just a support structure. And in our case, for the rock building, it's supporting this wall. Now if you look, and let's see if we can't get a better view of that, dude. Here's our buttress. Now that's just one of them, and that one's almost done, but it's taken quite a while to get it to that point. And we've got 3 of them on the back of this building here, on the back of the rock building. Here's the next one. If you can see, it's right now, it's about 5.5 feet tall. And if we come over here on the back of the building, next to my scaffolding here, here's the other one. So we're going to have those 3 with a support beam across the top. Now they're going to have to go all the way up past the first floor of this building. So why do we need a buttress, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you if you don't remember the original tour. If you haven't seen the original tour, go back and check it out. Anyway, see that crack right there? I can stick my hand in that crack. See that? My hand's all the way in it. Cracked there, cracked there, cracked all the way up. And that means this whole wall is laid out a little bit. So that's what the structural engineer said we needed to do. Do we have to do them the way I'm doing them? No, he gave me several options. This is one I chose. Oh, Dupe, you scared me. Say hi, Dupe. Can you say hi, Dupe? Come here, buddy. Good boy. All right, so then we come over here and we've got another crack next to where this old door is, and it runs all the way up. And then we've got a lot of little cracks in here too. And so buttresses as support structures, they've been around for a long time, probably invented by the Romans. I'll look into that. Anyway, they've been used in castles and retaining walls and big walls and cathedrals. So yeah, they're real common for vertical support. Anyway, so this is why we're doing the buttresses, because of the cracks, because of the wall moving. We gotta support the building before we do anything else. So follow along, check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. Hope you learn something. Hope you get something out of it. I know I am. Anyway, thank you. All right. Well, yesterday I did all this work down here, and you're gonna see that soon. And I did it all. Placed my camera. Thought I was good. Watched the video, and I put the camera right behind me, so you spend all day looking at my butt. So I probably won't use much of that footage, but this footage will be better. Gives a different angle, and we'll try it again. Like I said, I'm no videographer. I'm learning to think about that stuff a little bit more, but I don't think about it. I just want to get the work done, and that's where I really struggle in all this, because I just want to do the work. And doing the videos and then the editing and putting everything together, it's a learning experience, but it's a lot of work too. So I just want to get the work done, so I struggle with this other stuff. Anyway, so bear with me. Thanks. All right, so I'm going to film all of this buttress, building this buttress, the one right behind me, all the block work. I'll film it all. It's kind of sad because I do all this work and it's going to be like 2 minutes worth of video, and it's probably going to take me about I would guess about 4 days to finish this whole buttress. That's doing the block work, grouting all the rebar, so we'll see. Anyway, I've got to wear these thick rubber gloves, especially in the winter time. My fingers crack really bad to the point of where they bleed. So the cement and mortar just dries it out that much worse. So I got to wear the gloves. Helps me. Hopefully it'll help you. Some people are kind of immune to cement. I know that. I'm not one of them, especially in the winter time. So my fingers crack really bad. Anyway, here we go. We'll get started. I got my mortar mixed up. You probably didn't need to see me mix my mortar, but I'm time-lapsing all of this too. So we'll just go from there and we'll see how it works out. And I'll show you all my oops too, all my screw ups. So let's see, got her down. Can you see the footer and the block there? Turn her just a little bit and away we go. We'll see how it works out. Okay, I did have to, I might as well say this, I did have to modify all these blocks, cut the middles out, because I had a bit of an offset with my rebar uprights from my forms. So with that, I had to offset, everything was offset a couple inches. I didn't account for the offset at the top of the foot, or the top of the buttress, excuse me. The offset at the top of the buttress was about 4 inches. So if you look at see how my buttresses as I build them, they taper up from the bottom. You got about 4 inches at the top. That first block will be tight. Maybe you understand it, maybe you don't. Maybe I put a little drawing in. I'm not there yet, but we'll see. Anyway, so I've just got the camera set up underneath the scaffolding. I was working on the other buttress there, and you see me mixing up the mortar and getting everything ready to start laying the first course of blocks on that buttress I'm working on right there. You see me setting up the camera, getting everything else ready, and putting my gloves on, explaining everything I'm doing, because with this time lapse it goes pretty fast. And you see me laying mortar down and just laying the block down. And I've got some chalk lines down there that have everything set up to where it needs to be, so I know where that first course of block needs to be. And then I just keep wash, rinse, and repeat on that. Lay down the mortar and lay down the block and set the level up and make sure everything's square and true, or as best as it can be under the circumstances. And then we just keep going, one course after another, and that's how we build them up. Let's be clear here. This is not a how-to lay block video, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I've seen it done. I've never done it. I've seen it done. I've done some small walls, but it doesn't mean I'm doing it right. So it's not how-to. It's just the way I do it. So now you see me setting back up and getting everything ready and remixing my mortar, and I'm laying down the second row of blocks on that first course. And you'll see I lay the mortar down, I butter up the ends of the blocks, I level them up, I tap them down to where everything's level, and then I just keep going. And that's how we do one course after another. And then we'll do the second course, and I'm laying the second course perpendicular to the first course. That gives it a little more strength, ties everything together, kind of like a herringbone style of pattern. And it just goes well there. You see I'm putting my second course on there, and I'm doing it, like I said, perpendicular to the first course, and then we just keep going. That's how we do it. So I couldn't have done any of this stuff without watching some YouTube videos myself. There's a few guys I follow that are masons, both that, some of the guys do the old rock stuff, like Mike Haddock, mason out of Pennsylvania, that has a YouTube channel. He's great. There's a masonry school. I'm not even sure where they're located, but the guy that does the videos, Masonry 201, they're pretty awesome too. And there's a young man, Mason the Mason, who he does a good job too. So I've watched all their videos and followed those guys. And you see Big Paul just stepped into our video, one of our friends and neighbors there. Pretty amazing guy. All right, well, here we go. Full disclosure, I'm no mason. I'm just a guy doing it, and this is the way I'm doing it. I've watched a few YouTube videos. I did a block wall back when I was a kid, 30 years ago. Other than that, I've never really done any of this. So I follow Mike Haddock online on YouTube, and I've watched quite a few videos from Masonry 201. I believe that's what it's called. Anyway, those guys have been really helpful. They give step by step on how to do this stuff. I'm gonna need it because, like I said, I'm no mason, don't know what I'm doing. Well, maybe a little bit, but we'll make it work, and it'll be done well. Maybe not perfect, but it'll be done well. Drilling for the rebar. So I'm just drilling holes in for the lateral rebar here, using a big Hilti drill. I think it's a 1/2 inch bit, so I'm using 3/8 inch rebar for these laterals here. And then we'll just grout them in the holes, and I explain all that as we go through it, kind of drilling them down a little bit. And I wonder why I have tendonitis. We used to run really big rock drills in the underground mines, jack legs. A little bigger than this Hilti. They weighed about 120 pounds. Drug them around all day long, big pneumatic drills. But you could drill an 1.5 inch hole, 6 feet deep. Yeah, depending on the rock, a couple minutes. Really hard rock, 5 minutes. Yeah, and we'd stick bolts in them. So I ended up putting a lateral course like this every 4 courses high. So every 4 courses I did the bond beam block, drilled and anchored it into the rock building itself, just like I'm doing here. Alright, well today all I'm doing is just building buttresses, doing the concrete work. Right now I'm going to install the rebar into the rock building. It's the lateral rebar that's going to run through the bond beam block. Anyway, I'll show you how to do that. Drill some holes in, got the rebar cut. I'm going to make up a grout mixture, which I'm just using straight Portland cement and water, and that'll adhere both the steel, the rebar to the rock really well. Anyway, let's watch this. Looks like I got to change my battery out, so check it out. Well, so I gotta put my gloves on because cement really dries me out. It doesn't burn me. A lot of people it's real caustic too. I've never had that problem except on my feet. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, it's a mining story. It's an old miner tale. OMTs, Paul Redford used to say. Anyway, I gotta protect my fingers because it's really dries me out and my fingers crack. So just straight Portland in my little mixing cup. Need that, oh maybe a quarter of this full to do both those. Clean water, go get some clean water. So there's just a lot of steps involved in this, a lot. And you want the consistency to be horrible but not runny, if that makes any sense. Shoot, I don't know. I could use some pretty gross examples. I won't do that. It needs to be able to run, but it needs to be thick enough that it's not all watery. Alright, so here we go. Be careful you place this. You really don't want to drop it after you got it all mixed up. And like I said in a different video, I got a little fun one. I made a little fun one to get in the holes. That's why I drill the holes down a little bit, so it'll kind of pour down in. We used to use this underground. We'd pressure grout the ground if it was really bad ground, and we'd also use this to grout bolts, kind of similar to this. Put these cable bolts in anywhere from 20 feet to, I think the longest we ever did was about 60, I don't know, maybe 80 feet, I don't remember. Doing some grout support around a shaft one time, a shaft station. It works well. Want a little thicker then. So all I'm doing here is I'm just pouring that grout mixture down into the hole, and then I'm using I've got a little straw that I use to stick it down in there. Obviously I had to thin it out a little more, and then I'll get a piece of rebar. Usually I just use the rebar that's going in the hole, poke it in, add a little more grout into it and poke it in and twist the rebar around and lay it where it's supposed to go. Because it's drilled down, I have got a bend in the rebar right there, so I have to twist it down into that course of block, that bond beam block. But it should give it lateral strength, especially when we grout all the holes and fill them up with concrete, and makes it really super strong. I've just been making my little blocks, so it's not a big deal. We measure, what I say? Okay, we'll do this thing. 3 3/8. So we just measure 3 3/8. That's right there on the cut. You can cut that dude right there. See that? And we'll throw that in there. Doesn't matter, it's up in the ground. Alright, well, we'll see how we cut the block. This is how we cut the block. I had to cut a piece of block for every course, actually 2 pieces of block for every course, to get the filler pieces up against the rock building on every single buttress. And that's how we make smaller blocks. And now we move on to the making concrete part, and I'm doing it just with a regular old cement mixer, and I'm using a 3 parts gravel, 2 parts sand, 1 part cement, and I can get 3 of those in that mixer. I dump it in the wheelbarrow, and then I take it up and I'm filling all the holes in the concrete blocks, so they'll be 100% grouted, filled in. And I'm using a mix of pea gravel and 3/4 inch minus gravel. I think it'll give me a little better fill capacity for filling up all the blocks, get down in all the cracks and crevices there. So that's what we're doing there, and it's wash, rinse, and repeat. Just keep going, and as I get up higher on the buttress, it gets harder and harder because I have to fill the buckets up and take them up the scaffolding, and when I get high enough, I got to rope them up the scaffolding. And working by yourself, that's up and down, up and down, up and down. So it makes for a long process, and I've got to make up about for each 4 courses. I'm filling them up 4 courses at a time. I've got to mix up about 6 batches in the mixer. So it takes a while, but as I get higher, I got to do fewer batches. So it's one reward, one plus to getting higher, is you don't have to do as much, and you just back and forth, and time lapse makes it look like I'm doing it really fast, but I'm not. That process right there probably took a couple hours. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. This series, I'm going to go 2, maybe 3 to get these buttresses all finished. Like I showed you at the start of the video, we've got one that's mostly done, the one behind me, and then we got the 2 other ones that are about halfway done, and then we got to finish them off, and then we're going to stucco them all. So we still got some work to do. But thanks for tuning in. This is Steel and Stone Restoration. I'm Eric, and I appreciate it. So if you got any comments, complaints, concerns, or helpful advice, I'm open to advice. So hit me up in the comments section. I appreciate it. I'll take all the help I can get. Everyone says, hit that thumbs up button. All right, I like the thumbs up. I've been doing it for years. Anyway, hit that thumbs up button. You know, if you really like, follow along, subscribe. Appreciate it. It all helps, and you know, I'd hope you just join the journey. This is Thanks for joining the journey. We'll see Duke and, you know, I don't know. Dennis didn't show up in this video. No Dennis in this video. Sorry, guys. Well, and I apologize, guys. Dennis hasn't been around much, so we haven't seen Dennis in this video. Probably getting used to seeing Dennis. But you saw Duke, so what do you think?